The locket burned cold against Maya's palm as she pushed open the heavy oak door. She wasn't supposed to be here. Nanny Grace had told her 1,000 times. The East Wing was forbidden, especially during the lunar ceremony when all the grown-ups were busy with their boring rituals. But Maya had seen the door left open just a crack, and the strange pulling feeling in her chest wouldn't let her walk away. The hallway stretched before her, lit by dusty moonlight streaming through tall windows. Her small feet made no sound on the thick carpet as she crept forward, following that invisible thread tugging at her heart. Then she saw it. The portrait towered over her, nearly twice as tall as Nanny Grace. A woman stared down at her with kind eyes, the same unusual violet-grey eyes Maya saw every morning in the mirror. The woman's dark hair fell in waves over her shoulders, and she wore a silver crown studded with moonstones. Maya's breath caught. The woman looked exactly like Mama. She stepped closer, squinting at the small gold plate at the bottom of the ornate frame. She'd just learned to read last month, and the words came slowly. Queen Sarah, lost mate of Alpha King Darius. "But that's Mama," Maya whispered to the empty hallway. "Mama's name is Emma." Her fingers found the locket hanging around her neck, the one Mama never let her take off, even for bath time. Maya had always wondered why the necklace felt warm sometimes, almost alive. Mama would just smile sadly and say it was magic. "There you are," Maya spun around. Nanny Grace hurried down the hallway, her face pale with panic. "Child, you can't be here. If the king finds out..." "Who's Queen Sarah?" Maya held up the locket, her small face determined. "Why does she look like my Mama?" Nanny Grace's eyes went wide. She opened her mouth, then closed it, then opened it again like a fish. "We need to go, now." But Maya was already running. She darted past Nanny Grace's grasping hands and flew down the hallway toward the sounds of music and voices. The lunar ceremony was the biggest celebration of the year. Mama had explained that much before sending her to stay at the castle while she worked extra shifts at the hospital. Everyone important would be there. Someone would give her answers. The ceremonial hall blazed with candlelight and magic. Maya burst through the side entrance, her small figure barely noticed at first among the sea of elegant gowns and formal suits. The ceremony had just ended, and hundreds of wolves in human form mingled beneath floating orbs of silver light. At the far end of the hall, on a raised platform, stood the man from the portrait. Alpha King Darius was even more imposing in person. Tall and broad-shouldered, with dark hair touched with silver at the temples and eyes that glowed amber with his wolf's presence. He was talking to a beautiful woman in a blood-red gown, her hand possessive on his arm. Maya marched forward. "Excuse me," she said loudly, her child's voice cutting through the adult chatter. "Excuse me." Conversations died. Heads turned. Within seconds, a circle of space cleared around the small girl in her rumpled blue dress, her dark curls tangled from her adventure. "Your Majesty!" Nanny Grace rushed forward, trying to scoop Maya up. "I'm so sorry. She got away from me. Wait!" The king's voice was deep and commanding, his amber eyes fixed on Maya with sudden intensity. He descended the platform steps with the fluid grace of a predator. "Let her speak." Maya planted her feet and held up the locket. Her hand trembled, but her voice stayed strong. Mama always said she was brave like her father, whoever he was. "Who's Queen Sarah, and why does she look exactly like my Mama?" The entire hall seemed to stop breathing. Darius froze mid-step. His nostrils flared, and the amber in his eyes exploded into pure gold. Maya watched, fascinated, as his whole body went rigid. "You're sent," he breathed. "You carry my bloodline." "I don't understand," Maya said, but her words were drowned out by the explosion of whispers. "The king has a child? But he was never mated. Queen Sarah disappeared 6 years ago. Is this her daughter?" The woman in the red dress, Lady Morgana, Maya would learn later, went white as snow. Her perfectly painted lips pulled back from her teeth. This is impossible. Some human child with a stolen trinket. Quiet. Darius didn't even look at her. He was moving toward Maya like a man in a dream, his eyes never leaving her face. When he knelt before her, they were nearly the same height. Child, what's your name? Maya Emma Thorne. I'm 5.5. She thrust the locket toward him. Mama gave me this. She said my father gave it to her and I should never take it off. She said it would protect me. Darius took the locket with shaking hands. The moment his fingers touched the silver, it flared with light. A warm, golden glow that made everyone gasp. Mate bonds were legendary, unbreakable, and this locket was clearly bound with one. Emma, Darius whispered, his voice cracked on the name. You're Emma's daughter, our daughter. You're my father? Maya's eyes went huge. But Mama said my father was far away. She said he had important work and couldn't be with us. Oh, goddess. Darius pulled Maya into his arms, and she squeaked in surprise. But his embrace was gentle despite his trembling. Your mother, where is your mother, little one? At home, in our apartment in Portland. She's watching the ceremony on TV because she had to work. 300 miles away in a cramped studio apartment, Emma Thorne watched her entire world crumble. The live stream showed everything in crystal clarity. Her daughter in the arms of the man she'd loved and lost. Their faces identical in the bone structure, in the set of their jaws. Maya even had his determined expression. No, Emma breathed. No, no, no. She'd been so careful. 6 years of hiding, 6 years of looking over her shoulder, 6 years of working double shifts and moving every few months to keep them safe. 6 years of telling Maya beautiful lies about her father being a good man who loved them from afar. All destroyed in one moment because she'd let herself be weak and sent Maya to the castle for the lunar ceremony. She'd wanted her daughter to see the world she came from, just once. Emma's hand went to her throat, to the spot where her own mate mark should have been. The mark Morgana's poison had nearly destroyed, forcing her to flee or die. She'd been pregnant and powerless against Darius's betrothed, unable to prove the assassination attempt without putting her unborn child at risk. So she'd run. Let them think she'd rejected the bond. Better Darius believe she'd abandoned him than watch Morgana murder her in her sleep. On the screen, Darius stood with Maya in his arms. His voice boomed through the hall. Find her mother. Search every city, every town. Send trackers to Portland immediately. His eyes blazed gold with his alpha command. Bring my mate home. The assembled wolves howled in approval, all except one. Emma's blood ran cold as the camera panned across the crowd and caught Morgana's face. The she-wolf's expression was composed, almost serene, but Emma knew that look. She'd seen it before, right before her tea had been laced with wolfsbane. Morgana's lips curved in a smile that promised death. Emma was already moving, throwing clothes into a bag with shaking hands. She had maybe an hour before the king's trackers reached Portland. Maybe 2 if she was lucky. But where could she run that Darius wouldn't find her? He had the resources of the entire Crystal Moon Pack, the strongest pack in North America. And now that he knew about Maya, he would never stop looking. Her phone buzzed. A blocked number. Emma's finger hovered over the decline button, but something made her answer. Hello, Emma. Morgana's voice was silk and poison. Lovely ceremony, wasn't it? Your daughter is absolutely precious. It would be such a shame if something happened to her while she's a guest in our castle. You touch one hair on her head. Oh, I won't touch her. Not yet. But accidents happen, don't they? Children wander off, fall from high windows, eat something that doesn't agree with them. A pause. Unless their mother does the sensible thing and disappears. Permanently. Emma's hand tightened on the phone. What do you want? Your death faked convincingly enough that Darius stops looking. Then you run and never come back. The child can stay, She's his heir after all. I can always have her, educated properly. Never. Then say goodbye to your daughter Emma, because if you try to come for her, if you try to reclaim your place, I'll make sure neither of you lives to see it. The line went dead. Emma stared at the blank screen, her heart hammering. Through the window, she could already hear the distant howls, trackers, closing in. She looked at the live stream one more time. Maya was laughing now, her small hands patting Darius's face as he stared at her with wonder and grief. Her daughter, their daughter, finally in her father's arms. And somewhere in the shadows behind them, Morgana watched with cold, calculating eyes. Emma grabbed her bag and ran. Chapter 2. Darius stood in the middle of Emma's apartment, his wolf howling beneath his skin. The space was small, barely larger than his private study, but it was clean and carefully maintained. Children's drawings covered the refrigerator. A worn couch sat beneath a window with a view of the parking lot. Everything spoke of a life lived on the margins, of a woman working hard to provide for their child, his child, their daughter. The reality of it still staggered him. 5.5 years of Maya's life, gone. First steps he'd never seen. First words he'd never heard. Birthdays and scraped knees and bedtime stories. All of it stolen from him. Your Majesty. Tobias, his beta and oldest friend, appeared in the doorway. His expression was grim. She's gone. Left within an hour of the ceremony broadcast. Neighbours saw her loading a car, said she looked terrified. Terrified. Darius's hands clenched into fists. She should be terrified. 6 years, Tobias. 6 years she kept my daughter from me. We don't know why she ran. Don't defend her. Gold bled into Darius's eyes. His alpha presence filled the small room, making the windows rattle. She disappeared without a word. Let me think she'd rejected our bond. Let me believe she was dead. He'd mourned her. Goddess help him. He'd spent 2 years barely functioning, his wolf mad with grief. And all that time, she'd been alive. She'd been carrying his child, raising his daughter, and she'd never sent word. Papa, Darius turned. Maya stood in the doorway, her small hand tucked into Nanny Grace's. She'd insisted on coming to Portland, had thrown a tantrum worthy of an alpha's daughter when he'd tried to leave her at the castle. He'd given in, unable to deny her anything. Looking at her was like looking at Emma. The same delicate features, the same stubborn chin. But she had his eyes, his colouring. Their daughter was a perfect blend of them both. Yes, little one? Where's Mama? She didn't leave me, did she? Maya's lip trembled. She always comes back. The fear in her voice cut through his anger. Darius crossed the room and scooped her up, settling her on his hip, as if he'd been doing it for years instead of hours. Your Mama had to go somewhere, he said carefully, but we're going to find her, I promise. Do you promise? Like with a pinky swear? Despite everything, Darius's lips twitched. Pinky swear. Maya hooked her tiny finger around his much larger one, then seemed satisfied. She laid her head on his shoulder with the easy trust of a child who'd been loved well. Whatever else Emma had done, she'd raised their daughter to be brave and confident. Papa, why did Mama leave in the first place, before I was born? Darius stiffened. What makes you ask that? Because she cries sometimes, when she thinks I'm sleeping. Maya's voice was matter-of-fact in the way of children who've observed more than adults realise. She looks at the locket and cries, and she says, I'm sorry, my love, I had to keep her safe. Safe from what? The question burned through Darius's mind. Emma had been his mate, his queen. She'd been under the protection of the most powerful pack in North America. What had she needed to run from? Your Majesty? One of his trackers appeared, a young woman named Sierra. We've picked up her scent heading north. She's moving fast and... Sierra hesitated. She's not alone. There's another wolf's scent with her. Male. Rogue. Darius's wolf snarled. A rogue male with his mate? Track them both, he ordered. I want coordinates every hour. And Sierra, they're not to be harmed, especially Emma. Understood, Your Majesty. As Sierra left, Tobias moved closer, his voice low. Darius, if she's travelling with a rogue, there's more to this story than we know. Then we'll get the truth when we find her. Darius stroked Maya's hair as she dozed against his shoulder. But nothing excuses keeping my daughter from me. Even as he said it, doubt whispered through his mind. Emma had never been cruel. She'd been kind and fierce and brave, the strongest woman he'd ever known, despite her human origins. She'd stood before his court without fear, had won over even the most traditional wolves with her grace and determination. What could have driven her away? 400 miles north, Emma threw up in a gas station bathroom for the third time. Easy, Marcus's voice came through the door. We can stop for a while, rest. No. Emma rinsed her mouth and splashed water on her face. The woman in the mirror looked haunted. Dark circles under her eyes, hair tangled, skin pale. We have to keep moving. You know what Morgana's capable of. She pushed out of the bathroom. Marcus waited by his truck. A battered Ford that had seen better days. He was tall and rangy, with the lean build of a wolf who'd spent years living rough. He'd been rogue when Emma had stumbled into him 3 years ago, half-starved and desperate when Maya had gotten sick and needed medicine Emma couldn't afford. Marcus had helped then, and he'd been helping ever since, asking nothing in return, except that Emma stay alive and keep Maya safe. Morgana's assassins will be tracking us, Marcus said as they climbed into the truck. Your scent is all over Portland. Won't take them long to pick up the trail. I know. Emma's hands shook as she buckled her seatbelt. But if I go back, if I try to claim my place, she'll kill Maya. She told me as much. And you believe her? I saw what she did 6 years ago, Marcus. I was pregnant and powerless, and she poisoned my wine. If I hadn't noticed the smell, if I hadn't run... Emma closed her eyes. She wanted me dead then. She wants me dead now, and she has access to my daughter. Marcus was quiet as he pulled onto the highway then. You could tell Darius the truth. He won't believe me. He chose Morgana. He was engaged to her because you disappeared, because he thought you'd rejected the mate bond. Because I was human and she was the perfect wolf princess his court wanted him to marry. The old bitterness rose in Emma's throat. I was never supposed to be his queen. The mate bond was just bad timing. She'd never forgotten the letter she'd found the morning after Morgana poisoned her. It had been in Darius's handwriting, left on his desk where she'd gone looking for help. The council has made their position clear. A human queen would weaken the bloodline and shame our ancestors. Lady Morgana is the appropriate choice. I'm sorry, Emma. This was a mistake. She'd fled with those words burning in her mind, her hand pressed to her barely rounded belly. Better to raise their child in the human world than watch Darius's court tear her apart. Better to let him think she'd rejected him than force him to choose between his duty and a mate he clearly regretted. We're heading for the Shadowlands, Marcus said, breaking into her thoughts. Old Pack territory, abandoned after the wars. No one goes there anymore. We can lay low, figure out our next move. Thank you, Emma managed a weak smile. I don't know what I'd do without you. You'd manage. You're stronger than you think, Emma. Marcus's expression was serious. But eventually, you're going to have to face this, face him. He's not going to stop looking, not now that he knows about Maya. Emma's chest ached at the mention of her daughter. She'd watched the live stream, seen Maya's face light up as Darius held her, seen the wonder and love in the Alpha King's eyes as he looked at their child. She'd wanted that for Maya, wanted her daughter to know her father, to have the pack and the family Emma could never provide alone. But not if it meant putting Maya in Morgana's crosshairs. Emma. Marcus's voice sharpened. We've got a tail. Emma twisted in her seat. 3 vehicles had appeared behind them, moving fast. She didn't need to see the drivers to know what they were. Hunters? Worse. Marcus's hands tightened on the wheel. Royal Guard. Darius sent his best. Lose them. Working on it. The truck accelerated. Engine roaring. They shot past slower traffic, weaving between lanes. The guard vehicles kept pace, professional and relentless. Emma's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She stared at it, then answered. Emma. Darius's voice made her whole body go rigid. Stop running. I can't. You kept my daughter from me for 6 years. You owe me an explanation. I owe you nothing. The words came out sharper than she intended. You made your choice. You chose your duty, your perfect pack princess. I'm just doing what's best for Maya. Best for... Darius's voice exploded with fury. You think running from me is what's best for our daughter? She's terrified, Emma. She thinks you abandoned her. Pain lanced through Emma's chest. I would never. Then come back, come home. Whatever happened between us, we can work it out. But Maya needs her mother. Maya needs to be safe, and she's not safe with you. Not while Morgana... Emma cut herself off. Morgana? Darius's tone changed, sharpened. What does she have to do with this? Everything. Emma's voice broke. She's the reason I ran. She's the reason I can never come back. And if you can't see that, if you still choose her after everything, then we have nothing to talk about. She ended the call. Marcus glanced at her. That went well. Shut up. They drove in tense silence, the guard vehicles closing in. Marcus took a sharp exit, then another, navigating a maze of back roads. But the guards were too good. Their training too thorough. We're not going to make it to the Shadowlands, Marcus said grimly. They'll overtake us in 10 minutes. Emma's mind raced. They couldn't be caught. If Darius took her back to the castle, Morgana would have access. And Morgana had already proven she'd kill anyone who threatened her position. Her phone buzzed again. This time, a text from a number she didn't recognize. Tobias. Beta to Alpha King. Need to talk. Alone. Urgent. Emma showed it to Marcus, who frowned. Could be a trap. Or it could be the truth. Emma had met Tobias years ago, before everything fell apart. He'd been kind to her, one of the few wolves who'd welcomed her without reservation. Text him back. Tell him to meet us at the old mill outside Ravens Creek. 1 hour. Back in Portland, Tobias stared at his phone as Emma's reply came through. He shouldn't be doing this. Going behind his alpha's back was treason. But the evidence he'd uncovered in the past 3 hours made his blood run cold. He'd started digging after seeing Emma's apartment. Something about the whole situation hadn't made sense. Emma had loved Darius. Tobias had seen it with his own eyes. She'd fought for her place in the pack, had won over even the harshest critics. She wouldn't have just run, so Tobias had started investigating. He'd gone through old records, security footage, correspondence logs from 6 years ago, and he'd found something that made his stomach turn. Letters. Dozens of them. All from Darius to Emma, sent in those first desperate months after she'd disappeared. Letters begging her to come back, to explain what he'd done wrong, to at least let him know she was alive. Letters that had never been sent. They'd been intercepted, diverted, destroyed. And there was only one person with the access and authority to do that. Morgana. Tobias had dug deeper. He'd found bank records showing payments to known assassins. He'd found medical records showing Emma had been treated for wolfsbane poisoning, in a human hospital, under a false name, but the dates matched up. He'd found evidence of a conspiracy that went all the way to the top of the pack's social structure. And now he needed to get this information to Darius before... Hello, Tobias. He spun around. Morgana stood in the doorway of his office, beautiful and cold in a white dress. 2 of her personal guards flanked her. Lady Morgana, I wasn't expecting... You've been busy. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Digging through old files, accessing restricted records, one might think you were looking for something. Tobias's hand moved slowly toward his phone. Just routine follow-up on the Queen's disappearance. Emma was never Queen. She was a mistake, a human who seduced our king and abandoned him. Morgana's voice was pleasant, conversational. It's good that she ran. Saved everyone a lot of trouble. Is that what you told yourself when you poisoned her? Morgana's smile vanished. That's a serious accusation. I have proof, medical records, payment logs, security footage of you accessing the Queen's chambers the night before she disappeared. Tobias stood his ground even as the guards moved closer. I'm taking it to the Alpha King. No, Morgana said softly. You're not. The guards moved faster than Tobias could react. One grabbed him, forcing his arms behind his back. The other produced a syringe. Wolfsbane? Tobias struggled. But they were Morgana's personal pets, hand-picked for their strength and their loyalty to her. Darius will know. Darius will think you had an accident. So tragic. His loyal beta, dead in a car crash on the way to meet the rogue who's been helping his queen hide. Morgana took the syringe and held it up to the light. This is concentrated. It will stop your heart in minutes. Very painful, I'm afraid. He'll find out the truth. Emma will tell him. Emma will be dead by morning, and her rogue protector, and anyone else who knows too much. Morgana leaned close. I've worked too hard, waited too long to let a human and a child destroy everything. She plunged the syringe into his neck. Fire exploded through Tobias's veins. His wolf thrashed, trying to fight the poison, but there was too much. His heart hammered, then stuttered, then began to slow. Morgana! He gasped, poisoned. The Queen's wine wanted her dead. He fumbled for his phone with numb fingers, managed to open a voice memo, managed to press a record. Morgana orchestrated everything. Emma, innocent, protect the Queen. The phone slipped from his hand as darkness closed in. His last thought was of Darius, his friend and his king, who was about to lose everything if someone didn't stop Morgana. Then there was nothing. Darius was coordinating search teams when his phone rang. Tobias's number. What did you find? Static, heavy breathing. Then Tobias's voice, weak and fading. Morgana. Poisoned the Queen's wine. Wanted her dead. Orchestrated everything. Emma innocent. Protect. The line went dead. Darius's blood went cold. Tobias? Tobias. He was already moving, barking orders. Get me Tobias's location now, and someone find Lady Morgana. I want her in my office immediately. But even as his guards scrambled to obey, Darius knew. He'd heard the death rattle in his beta's voice. Tobias was gone. And if Tobias had been right, if Morgana had orchestrated everything, then Emma. His mate had been telling the truth. She'd been running from danger, not from him. And he'd hunted her like prey. Your Majesty, Sierra burst into the room. We've lost contact with the team pursuing Emma. Last known location was Ravens Creek. We're sending backup, but I'm going. Darius was already shifting, his wolf bursting free. The Alpha King disappeared, replaced by a massive silver wolf with eyes of burning gold. He had to reach Emma, had to protect her. Had to stop Morgana before she destroyed what was left of his family. As he raced from the castle, Maya's voice echoed in his memory. She says, I'm sorry, my love. I had to keep her safe. Safe from Morgana. Safe from a conspiracy that had festered in his own court for 6 years. And now his mate and his beta might both pay the price for his blindness. Chapter 3. The old mill at Ravens Creek hadn't been used in 20 years. Its walls were crumbling, windows broken, the great wheel that had once turned in the creek, now still and rotting. But it had 4 walls and a roof, and more importantly, it was far enough off the main road that Emma felt like she could breathe for the first time in hours. Marcus had disappeared into the shadows to scout the perimeter. leaving Emma alone with her racing thoughts and the burner phone that connected her to a life she'd tried so hard to leave behind. She paced the dusty floor, arms wrapped around herself. Every instinct screamed at her to run further, faster. But Tobias's message had been urgent. If Darius's own beta was reaching out to her, maybe. The door exploded inward. Emma spun, heart in her throat, expecting assassins. Instead, Darius filled the doorway in human form, his massive frame blocking out the moonlight. He wore dark tactical gear, and his eyes blazed pure gold with his wolf's fury. 6 years, he said, his voice dangerously quiet. 6 years you kept my daughter from me. Emma's hands clenched into fists. Every protective instinct she had roared to life. Don't you dare. Don't you dare come here and act like the victim. Victim? Darius stalked forward, and Emma had to force herself not to back away. Even without his wolf, his alpha presence was overwhelming. You disappeared without a word. You let me think you were dead. You raised my child alone while I— His voice cracked. While I mourned you. Mourned me? The laugh that escaped Emma's throat was bitter and sharp. Is that what you call it, mourning me, while you planned your wedding to Morgana? What wedding? There was never— I saw the letter. The words exploded out of her. In your handwriting, on your desk. You called me a mistake, Darius. You said a human queen would weaken the bloodline. You chose your duty, your perfect pack princess, and you left me with nothing. What letter? I never wrote. Don't lie to me. Emma's hand flew before she could think, connecting with his cheek in a sharp crack that echoed through the empty mill. The slap left a red mark on his face. Darius stood frozen, his jaw working, his wolf snarling just beneath his skin. For a moment, Emma thought he might shift, might let his beast loose. Instead, he pulled a folder from inside his jacket and threw it on the floor between them. Read it. I don't need to read more of your— Read it. Something in his voice made Emma pause. She bent slowly, keeping him in sight, and picked up the folder. Inside were photographs, documents, bank statements, and letters, dozens of them, in Darius's distinctive handwriting. Emma, my heart, my mate, please come back to me. Whatever I did to drive you away, I'll fix it. Just tell me what I did wrong. It's been 3 months. I've sent trackers to every territory. No one has seen you. Are you alive? Please, goddess, let her be alive. I don't understand why you left. Was it something I said? Something the court did? I'll abdicate if that's what you need. I'll give up everything. Just come home. Letter after letter, each one more desperate than the last. All dated from those first terrible months after she'd fled. All marked undelivered in red ink. I don't understand, Emma whispered. These were never sent. They were intercepted. Darius's voice was rough. I found them tonight in Morgana's private office. She's been manipulating both of us from the beginning. Emma's hands shook as she flipped through more documents. Medical records showing she'd been treated for wolfsbane poisoning. Security footage stills of Morgana entering Emma's chambers the night before she'd fled. Bank transfers to known assassins with dates that matched. No, Emma dropped the folder. No, this can't be real. The letter I found, it was in your handwriting. Forged. Tobias uncovered evidence that Morgana hired a specialist, someone who could mimic my writing perfectly. Darius moved closer, and this time Emma did step back. She wanted you gone, Emma, and when you wouldn't leave on your own, she decided to drive you away. Why? Why would she go to such lengths? Because you're my true mate, because the bond we share threatens everything she's been building. Darius's expression was fierce. She's been positioning herself for years, consolidating power, making alliances. If she'd become queen, she would have controlled the entire werewolf nation through me. Emma's mind reeled. 6 years. 6 years of running, of fear, of believing Darius had rejected her. All of it a lie. "Tobias," she said suddenly. "He contacted me, said he had information. Tobias is dead." The words hit Emma like a physical blow. She'd liked Tobias. He'd been kind to her, welcoming when so many others had been cold. "Morgana?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. "He left a voice message, said Morgana poisoned your wine, that she orchestrated everything." Darius's jaw clenched. He died getting that information to me, and now Morgana knows we're closing in on the truth. "Maya," Emma's heart stopped. "Oh God, Maya, she's at the castle. Morgana has access. Maya is protected. I left her with my personal guard. Wolves I trust with my life." Darius reached for Emma's hand, but she jerked away. "Emma, don't." She wrapped her arms around herself. "You think you can just show me some documents and everything is fine? 6 years, Darius. 6 years I've been running. 6 years I've been alone, raising our daughter in hiding, looking over my shoulder every single day." "I know." "You don't know." Emma's voice cracked. "You don't know what it's like to be so terrified for your child that you can't sleep, to work 3 jobs because you can't risk staying in one place long enough to build a career, to watch your daughter ask about her father and have to lie because the truth is too dangerous. Then help me understand." Darius's control was fraying. Emma could see it in the tension of his shoulders, the gold bleeding into his eyes. "Help me understand why you didn't reach out, why you didn't try to contact me once in 6 years." "Because I thought you didn't want me." The words tore out of her. "I thought I was nothing to you, a human who trapped you with a mate bond you never wanted. I thought—" She broke off as the mate bond suddenly flared to life between them. It hit her like a lightning strike, fierce and undeniable. 6 years of dormancy shattered in an instant, and Emma gasped as she felt Darius's emotions flood through the connection. Grief, rage, longing, love so intense it stole her breath. "You feel it," Darius said hoarsely. "The bond. It never broke, Emma. It was always there. I felt you for 6 years, distant, muted, but alive. It was the only thing that kept me sane." Emma's knees went weak. She'd thought the bond had died when she fled. Had convinced herself it was proof that Darius never truly wanted her, but now it blazed between them, strong and real and devastating. "I don't know if I can forgive you," she whispered. "I don't know if I can forgive myself for believing the worst of you." "Then we'll figure it out together." The window shattered. Darius moved on pure instinct, tackling Emma to the ground as bullets tore through the space where she'd been standing. Not normal bullets, these were silver, designed to kill werewolves. Assassins. Marcus's shout came from outside, followed by the sound of fighting. More windows exploded inward. Darius shifted partially, his body expanding, his claws extending. He grabbed Emma and rolled them both behind an overturned table as silver bullets chewed through the wood. "How many?" Emma gasped. "Too many." Darius's voice was half growl. "Morgana sent her best." A figure appeared in the doorway, a wolf in human form, dressed in black tactical gear, assault rifle raised. Darius launched himself forward with a roar, moving faster than Emma's human eyes could track. The fight was brutal and efficient. Darius was an alpha king for a reason. Centuries of breeding and training distilled into pure predatory skill. He tore through the first assassin, then the second, his partially shifted form a nightmare of claws and fangs. But there were too many. They kept coming, a coordinated assault designed to overwhelm even an alpha. Emma pressed herself against the wall, helpless. She was human, useless in a fight between wolves. She could only watch as Darius fought like a demon to protect her, his body taking damage meant for her. Then she saw the shooter on the second-floor balcony, rifle aimed at Darius's back. "No!" Emma threw herself forward. She didn't think, didn't plan, just moved. She crashed into Darius from the side, and 3 silver bullets meant for his heart punched into her chest instead. Pain exploded through her body. Emma heard Darius roar her name, felt his arms catch her as she fell. The world tilted, and suddenly she was on the ground. Blood spreading across her shirt, Darius's face above her twisted with anguish. No, no, no. His hands pressed against her wounds, trying to stop the bleeding. Emma, stay with me. Goddess, please. More gunfire. Marcus appeared, his wolf form massive and scarred, and he tore into the remaining assassins with savage fury. The sounds of battle faded as Emma's vision tunneled. Darius, she managed. Blood filled her mouth. Maya, tell her I love her. You're going to tell her yourself. Darius's voice broke. You're not dying. I won't let you die. But Emma could feel her life bleeding out. The silver bullets had done their job. Even as a human, she'd been infected enough with Darius's essence through the mate bond that silver could kill her. I'm sorry, she whispered. Sorry I didn't trust you. Don't. Tears tracked down his face. Don't apologize. This is my fault. All of it. His wolf whimpered inside him, a sound of such pure grief that it echoed through the mate bond. And in that moment, something inside Emma stirred. The bond flared brighter. Power rushed through it, not from Darius, but from somewhere deeper, somewhere ancient. Emma's back arched as silver light exploded from her body. What? Darius stumbled back, shielding his eyes. The light was blinding, pure white shot through with threads of silver. Emma felt it burning through her veins, felt something awakening that had been locked away her entire life. The silver bullets pushed themselves out of her wounds with soft metallic clinks, and her flesh began to knit closed. Impossible? Marcus breathed from somewhere nearby. Emma's eyes snapped open. They glowed pure silver. Not the gold of a normal wolf, but silver bright as moonlight. Power thrummed through her body, making her skin luminescent. When she spoke, her voice carried harmonics that made the walls tremble. What's happening to me? Darius stared at her with shock and something like awe. You're shifting, but that's impossible. You're human. No. The word came from an ancient memory, surfacing through layers of false conditioning. I'm not human. I never was. Images flooded her mind, memories that had been buried, suppressed, sealed away by powerful magic. She saw herself as a child, silver fur gleaming in moonlight, saw her mother, another silver wolf, teaching her to shift, saw the attack that had killed her parents, saw herself being hidden away by a witch who'd cast powerful spells to make her forget, to make everyone believe she was human. Silver Luna, Marcus whispered. The prophecy. What prophecy? Emma managed. The power was overwhelming, threatening to consume her. Darius's hands were shaking as he reached for her. There's an old legend that once in 1,000 years a silver Luna is born, a wolf so powerful she can bear an Alpha King's true heir, a child who will unite all wolf nations and bring an age of peace. Maya, Emma breathed. She's the heir. That's why Morgana wanted me dead. Not just dead, forgotten. Darius's expression was grim. Silver Lunas were thought extinct. If anyone had known what you were, every wolf nation would have fought for you. Morgana must have discovered the truth somehow. She couldn't risk you fulfilling the prophecy. Emma looked down at her hands. They glowed with silver light, and when she concentrated, she felt the wolf inside her, strong, ancient, furious at being caged for so long. She planted false memories, Emma said slowly, made me believe I was weak, human, powerless. But you're not. Darius pulled her to her feet, steadying her as she swayed. You're the most powerful wolf I've ever encountered, and you're my mate. The bond between them blazed like the sun. Emma felt it now, not just Darius's love and grief, but the full weight of their connection. This was what a true mate bond felt like. This was what Morgana had tried so hard to destroy. She's still at the castle, Emma said. Her voice had changed, gaining a resonance that spoke of power and authority. She's still close to our daughter. Then we end this. Darius's eyes blazed gold to match her silver. Together. Marcus padded over in wolf form, blood on his muzzle. The assassins are dead, but more will come. Morgana knows she's running out of time. Emma felt the truth of it through her newly awakened senses. Morgana had been building her power base for years, probably decades. She wouldn't give up easily. "We need to get back to the castle," Darius said. "We need to—" He stumbled, and Emma caught him. For the first time, she noticed the blood soaking his shirt. He'd taken wounds during the fight, deep ones. "You're hurt. I'll heal?" But his voice was strained. "No, you won't. Not fast enough." Emma pressed her hands to his wounds, and the silver light flowed from her into him. She didn't know how she knew what to do. The knowledge was instinctive, primal, passed down through a bloodline she'd never known she had. The Luna's gift. The power to heal her mate, to strengthen her pack, to protect what was hers. Darius gasped as his wounds closed. The colour returned to his face, and his wolf surged with renewed strength. When he looked at Emma, there was wonder in his eyes. "You're magnificent," he said softly. "You always were, but I never imagined." "We don't have time for this." Emma's voice was firm, despite the chaos of emotions swirling through her. "Maya is in danger, and Morgana needs to answer for what she's done." She looked down at herself. Torn, blood-soaked clothes. Silver light still emanating from her skin. She was no longer the frightened woman who'd run from the castle 6 years ago. She wasn't even the determined mother who'd fought to protect her child alone. She was Emma Thorne, Silver Luna, true mate to the Alpha King, and she was done running. "There's something else," Marcus said, shifting back to human form. He looked uneasy. "The prophecy doesn't just say the Silver Luna will bear the Alpha King's heir. It says she'll either unite the wolf nations or destroy them." Emma felt the weight of his words. The power inside her was vast, barely controlled. She could feel it reaching out, touching the threads of magic that connected all wolves. If she pulled too hard, if she let the power loose without restraint. "I won't destroy anything," she said firmly. "I'm going to protect my daughter and reclaim my place. That's all." But even as she spoke, she felt the prophecy settling around her like a mantle. Choices were coming. Choices that would determine not just her fate, or Maya's, but the fate of every wolf in every nation. Morgana had tried to prevent the prophecy by killing Emma. Now Emma was going to show her exactly what a Silver Luna could do when you threatened her family. "Let's go get our daughter," she said to Darius. He nodded, and for the first time in 6 years, they moved as one. Alpha King and Silver Luna finally united. Behind them, the old mill began to collapse, weakened by the battle and Emma's unleashed power. But Emma didn't look back. Her eyes were fixed on the horizon, where Castle Crystal Moon waited, where her daughter waited, where Morgana waited, not knowing that the woman she'd tried to destroy had just awakened as the most powerful wolf alive. The hunt was over. Now came the reckoning. Chapter 4. Dawn broke over Crystal Moon Castle like a promise or a warning. Emma stood at the window of what had once been her chambers, watching silver light spill across the grounds. 6 years ago, she'd fled through these very halls, pregnant and terrified, believing herself powerless. Now she stood here as something she'd never imagined possible, a Silver Luna. The power hummed beneath her skin, vast and barely controlled. Every wolf in the castle could feel it. She'd watched them bow their heads as Darius had led her through the gates, their wolves instinctively recognizing her authority. Even the guards who'd been loyal to Morgana had wavered, their animals confused by the pure alpha dominance that radiated from Emma. "Mama!" Emma turned as Maya burst into the room, Nanny Grace hurrying behind her. Their daughter launched herself into Emma's arms with the blind trust of a child who'd never doubted her mother would come back. "Baby girl." Emma held her tight, breathing in her scent. "I'm so sorry I left." "You came back." Maya pulled away, her small face serious. "And you're glowing, like a nightlight, but prettier." Emma glanced down. Silver light still emanated from her skin in soft pulses, responding to her emotions. She was having trouble controlling it. The priestess Darius had summoned hadn't arrived yet, and Emma felt like a live wire, all power and no grounding. "It's complicated, sweetheart." "Are you magic now? Like the stories?" Maya's eyes, Darius's eyes, were wide with wonder rather than fear. "Nanny Grace says you're a silver lunar. She says that's very special." "It is special," came a voice from the doorway. An ancient woman entered, leaning on a gnarled staff. Her hair was white as moonlight, her eyes milky with age. But Emma felt the power radiating from her. This was no ordinary elder. "High Priestess Selene," Nanny Grace said, bowing low. "We're honored." "Save your courtesies." Selene's voice was surprisingly strong, those milky eyes fixed on Emma with unnerving accuracy. "So, the silver lunar awakens at last. I wondered if I'd live to see this day." Maya pressed close to Emma's side, suddenly shy. Emma's protective instincts flared, and silver light pulsed brighter around them both. "Easy, child." Selene's expression softened. "I'm not your enemy. I've been waiting for you since before you were born. Your mother brought you to me once, when you were just a babe. She knew what you were, knew the danger you'd face. She made me swear to protect the bloodline." Emma's breath caught. "You knew my mother?" "Knew her, loved her, mourned her when Morgana's agents killed her to prevent the prophecy." Selene moved closer, studying Emma with those strange eyes. "They thought they'd succeeded. Thought by making you forget, by sealing your wolf away, they'd prevented the silver lunar from rising. But prophecy has a way of fulfilling itself. I don't understand any of this." Emma's voice shook. "A week ago, I was human. I was ordinary. How can I be this legend? You were never ordinary. You were always magnificent. You simply didn't remember." Selene reached out and touched Emma's hand. Power flowed between them, ancient and knowing. "But now you must learn quickly. Morgana won't wait for you to master your gifts. She'll strike soon. Then teach me." "Mama," Maya tugged on Emma's sleeve. "The pretty lady is scared, really scared." Everyone turned to look at Maya. The little girl was staring at the doorway where Nanny Grace stood, her small face troubled. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" Emma asked carefully. "I can hear her thoughts. She's thinking about Lady Morgana, and she's scared of what will happen if—" Maya's face scrunched up in concentration. "If Lady Morgana finds out she helped us." Nanny Grace went pale. "How did you—" "The child has inherited more than just her parents' strength," Selene said quietly. "She has the gift of sight, of knowing, very rare, even among royal bloodlines." Darius appeared in the doorway, still wearing the blood-stained clothes from the fight at the mill. His eyes went immediately to Emma, then to Maya, and Emma felt his relief through their bond. "We need to talk," he said. "The council has convened. They're demanding answers about Emma's return and—" he glanced at Maya, "about other matters. Then we'll face them together." Emma straightened, and the silver light around her pulsed with determination. "I'm done hiding." The council chamber was exactly as Emma remembered. A vast circular room with seats arranged in tiers, designed to intimidate anyone standing at the centre. 12 council members sat in judgment, their faces varying mixtures of shock, suspicion, and in some cases, poorly concealed hostility. And there, seated at Darius's right hand, where the Queen should have sat, was Morgana. She looked perfect as always. golden hair arranged in an elaborate style, her gown a deep purple that emphasized her status. But her eyes were cold as winter when they landed on Emma. "So," Morgana said pleasantly, "the human returns." "I was never human." Emma's voice rang through the chamber, clear and strong. "But you knew that, didn't you, Morgana? You knew exactly what I was when you tried to kill me 6 years ago." Gasps echoed around the room. Several council members shifted uncomfortably. "Careful with your accusations," Morgana said. "You abandoned your mate, disappeared without a word, and now you return with wild claims." "I have proof." Darius's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. He gestured. And guards brought forward boxes of documents, the evidence Tobias had died collecting. Proof of your conspiracy, proof that you poisoned Emma, proof that you've been manipulating this court for years. He began laying out the evidence piece by piece, the forged letter, the payments to assassins, the medical records, security footage. With each revelation, the council members' expressions shifted from skepticism to dawning horror. But Emma was watching Morgana. The she-wolf sat perfectly still, her expression never changing. And Emma realized, with growing dread, that Morgana wasn't surprised, wasn't even concerned. She was waiting for something. "These are clever forgeries," Morgana said when Darius finished, "but ultimately meaningless. Tell me, Alpha King, do you truly believe you can stand against me, against us?" She gestured, and 6 council members stood. Their eyes had gone flat, emotionless. Emma felt the dark magic radiating from them, thick, oily, wrong. "What have you done to them?" Darius growled. "Simply ensured their loyalty." Morgana rose gracefully. "You see, while you were off playing detective, I've been building my power base. Half this council belongs to me. And when the blood moon rises in 3 days, I'll have everything I've worked for." She snapped her fingers, and the corrupted council members moved to surround her in a protective formation. "The blood moon eclipse," Selene breathed from beside Emma. "She plans to use it to force a mate bond." "Exactly." Morgana's smile was cold. During the eclipse, the barriers between magic and reality thin. "With enough power I've been collecting from stolen life force for years, I can override the true mate bond. Darius will be mine, the throne will be mine, and this kingdom will finally have the queen it deserves." "That's dark magic," one of the uncorrupted council members said. "Forbidden by ancient law, laws written by the weak to control the strong." Morgana's eyes flashed. "I've spent decades preparing for this. I won't be stopped by outdated traditions or a human pretending to be a Luna." "I'm not pretending." Emma stepped forward, and silver light exploded around her. The corrupted council members stumbled back, their dark magic recoiling from her power. "I am the Silver Luna, daughter of the ancient bloodline, and I claim my place as rightful queen." The chamber shook. Every wolf present felt it. The pull of absolute authority, the call of their true Luna. Even the corrupted council members wavered, their wolves fighting against the dark magic controlling them. Morgana's composure finally cracked. "Impossible. You were sealed. The spell should have held." "Your spell broke when I awakened." Emma's voice carried harmonics that made the walls tremble. "And now I'm going to undo everything you've built." "Are you?" Morgana's smile returned, sharper now. "Then explain this." She pulled out a vial of dark liquid and threw it at Darius. It shattered at his feet, and he staggered as black smoke rose from the puddle. "Poison," Selene gasped. "Goddess, she's been poisoning him." "For 6 years." Morgana's voice was triumphant. Every meal, every drink, slow-acting, virtually undetectable. It weakened his bond with Emma, made it impossible for him to truly pursue her. It dampened his alpha power, made him easier to manipulate. She laughed, and best of all, it was designed to kill him slowly once Emma was gone. Every day without his true mate made the poison work faster. Emma felt the world tilt. She looked at Darius and saw it now. The shadows under his eyes, the way he moved just slightly slower than he should, the pallor beneath his tan. He'd been dying, and she hadn't known. "You killed him," Emma whispered. "All this time. Not killed yet." Morgana's eyes glittered. "But he has perhaps a month left. Unless, of course, someone with extraordinary healing power were to save him. Someone like a silver Luna." She paused. "Or unless I provide the antidote when he accepts our forced bond." "Darius," Emma turned to him, and through their bond, she felt his pain, felt how much effort it took for him to remain standing, how the poison ate at him from the inside. "I'm fine," he said, but his voice was strained. "You're dying." Emma's hand shook. "How long have you known? Does it matter?" His eyes met hers, fierce despite his weakness. "I would have died gladly if it meant you and Maya were safe." "How touching." Morgana's voice dripped with false sympathy. "But we're wasting time. Here's my offer, Emma. Come with me now. Surrender yourself and your power, and I'll give you the antidote. Darius lives, and your daughter remains safe in the castle. And if I refuse, then Darius dies within the month, and your daughter—" Morgana pulled out her phone and showed Emma the screen. Emma's blood ran cold. The video showed Maya in her chambers, playing with her toys, and standing in the shadows behind her, barely visible, was one of Morgana's corrupted guards. "One word from me," Morgana said softly, "and Maya has an unfortunate accident. Children are so fragile, so easy to lose. If you touch her—" Emma's power exploded outward, silver light blazing so bright, several council members cried out and shielded their eyes. "Then accept my terms." Morgana was unmoved by the display. "Your daughter's life for your surrender, Darius's life for your cooperation. It's simple math, really." Emma felt Darius move to her side. "Don't," he said quietly. "Emma, don't do this." "She has Maya." Emma's voice broke. "She's threatening our daughter. And if you surrender, she has you. She has the Silver Luna's power. She'll use it to enslave the entire wolf nation." Darius grabbed her shoulders, bum forcing her to look at him. "I won't let you sacrifice yourself, and I won't let you die." The words tore out of her. "I can't lose you again. I can't." "You never lost me." Darius's hands cupped her face, and Emma saw everything in his eyes. 6 years of grief, of longing, of love that had never died despite the poison, despite the separation, despite everything. "From the moment I met you, Emma, my wolf chose you. Even when I thought you were human, even when the court said it was impossible, I loved you. Darius, every day without you was agony. The bond stretched between us like an open wound. The only thing that kept me alive was the faint echo of you through that connection." His voice roughened. "The poison was eating at me, but losing you was killing me faster. My wolf has been dying without his mate." Emma felt tears streaming down her face. Through their bond, she felt the truth of his words, felt how much pain he'd been in, how hard he'd fought to keep functioning, to keep searching for her. "When I healed you at the mill," she whispered, "I broke the poison's hold, didn't I? You saved my life again." He managed a weak smile. "You've been saving me since the day we met. I just didn't realize it." "How sweet." Morgana's voice cut through the moment. "But you're running out of time. My guard has his hand on Maya's door right now. Accept my terms, or—" Maya's scream cut through the castle like a knife. Emma didn't think. She simply moved, pulling on her power, and disappeared in a burst of silver light. Maya's chambers were chaos. The little girl stood in the center of the room, her eyes glowing silver, not gold like a normal wolf, but pure silver like Emma's. Around her, furniture flew through the air as if caught in a tornado. The corrupted guard who'd been sent to take her was pinned against the wall by invisible force, his face twisted in pain. Maya! Emma materialized beside her daughter and pulled her close. Mama! Maya clung to her. He tried to take me. He had bad thoughts. I could hear them, and I got so scared. And then, she gestured at the chaos. I didn't mean to. I don't know how I did it. Shh, it's okay. Emma held her tight, and silver light flowed from her into Maya, soothing, calming. You're safe now. I've got you. The furniture crashed to the floor. The guard slumped, unconscious, and Maya's eyes faded back to their normal gold brown. That was so scary, Maya whispered. I know, baby. But you protected yourself. You were so brave. Darius appeared in the doorway with Selene and several loyal guards. He took in the scene with wide eyes. She has telekinesis, Selene breathed. Combined with telepathy and the Luna's healing gift, this child is unprecedented. This child is in danger. Emma's voice was hard. Morgana won't stop until she has what she wants. Then we don't give it to her. Darius crossed to them, and despite his weakness, his alpha presence filled the room. We fight. Together. She has the antidote. Then we find another way. He knelt before Emma and Maya, taking both their hands. I've been dying for 6 years, Emma. I can die a while longer if it means keeping you and Maya safe. You're not dying. Emma's power flared, silver light wrapping around all three of them. I won't allow it. She poured her healing gift into him, deeper this time. She could feel the poison now, dark threads woven through his system, clinging to his organs, his blood, his wolf. It was insidious, designed to resist normal healing, but Emma wasn't normal. She was the Silver Luna, and her power came from a source older than Morgana's dark magic. She burned the poison away thread by thread, replacing it with light. Darius gasped, his back arching as his wolf surged back to full strength for the first time in years. When he opened his eyes, they blazed pure gold, not weakened or dimmed, but powerful and whole. Emma, he breathed. How did you— I'm learning, she managed a tired smile. But Morgana was right about one thing. The blood moon is in 3 days. She'll make her move then. Then we have 3 days to prepare. Darius stood, pulling Emma and Maya up with him. 3 days to unite the pack, expose Morgana's corruption, and end this. She has half the council under her control, Emma said, and who knows how many others. Then we break her control. Selene stepped forward, her ancient eyes sharp. The Silver Luna's power can purify dark magic. That's why Morgana feared you so much. You're her natural counter. Emma looked down at Maya, who was watching with those 2 wise eyes. Mama, Maya said softly. I can hear her thoughts. Lady Morgana, she's not in the castle anymore. What? She left. She's going somewhere with lots of magic. Somewhere dark. Maya's face scrunched in concentration. She's going to do the ritual early. She's going to force the bond tonight. Horror washed through Emma. Tonight? But the blood moon isn't for 3 days. She doesn't need the eclipse if she has enough stolen life force, Selena said grimly. If she's accelerating her timeline, it means she's desperate, afraid of what Emma might do if given time to master her powers. Where? Darius demanded. Where is she going? Maya's eyes went distant, silver light flickering through them. The old temple, in the dead forest, where the dark wolves used to worship. Emma and Darius exchanged looks. The dead forest was forbidden territory, a place where dark magic had corrupted the land itself centuries ago. Then that's where we're going, Emma said. It's a trap, Selena warned. She'll be at her strongest there, surrounded by dark magic. I don't care. Emma's eyes blazed silver. She threatened my daughter. She poisoned my mate. She stole 6 years of our lives. Power thrummed through her voice. It ends tonight. Darius's hand found hers, their fingers intertwining. Through their bond, Emma felt his love, his pride, his absolute faith in her. Together? He said. Together, Emma agreed. She looked down at Maya, who was watching them both with those impossibly wise eyes. Can you stay here with Celine? Emma asked gently. Stay safe while we… No. Maya's voice was surprisingly firm. I have to come. I saw it in my dreams. All three of us have to be there, or the bad lady wins. Emma's heart clenched. Sweetheart. She's right. Celine's voice was heavy. The prophecy speaks of three: Alpha King, Silver Luna, and the child who will unite the nations. All three must be present for the true bond to triumph over the false one. She's 5 years old, Emma said desperately. I can't bring her into battle. You can't leave her behind either. Darius's voice was gentle. Emma, she's our daughter. She has your power and my wolf. She's stronger than you think. Emma looked at Maya, really looked at her, saw past the sweet face and childish features to the power beneath. Her daughter was extraordinary, special, chosen by prophecy and fate. And Emma realized with a terrible certainty that Maya was right. They all had to go. Okay, she said softly, but you stay close to us, no matter what happens. I promise. Maya hugged her tight. We're going to win, Mama. I saw that too. Emma could only hope her daughter's vision was right, because in 3 hours, they would face Morgana in the Dead Forest, and one way or another, this would end. Chapter 5. The Dead Forest lived up to its name. Nothing grew here, not grass, not moss, not even weeds. The trees were blackened husks, twisted into grotesque shapes by centuries of dark magic. The ground was ash-grey, cracked like old bones, and the air itself felt heavy with corruption. Emma stood at the forest's edge, Maya's small hand clutched tight in hers, Darius a solid presence at her side. Behind them, 50 of his most loyal warriors waited in the shadows, wolves who'd proven their devotion beyond doubt, who wore silver charms blessed by Celine to protect against Morgana's corruption. The temple is at the center, Celine had told them before they'd left, built on a nexus of dark power. Morgana will be at her strongest there, but so will you, Emma. Light and dark, always opposing, always balanced. I can feel it, Maya whispered now, her eyes distant. The bad magic, it's like screaming that never stops. Emma's heart clenched. You can still stay back? Stay with the warriors? No. Maya's grip tightened. I have to be there. The vision showed me. Through their bond, Emma felt Darius's concern matching her own, but they'd learned in the past hours that Maya's visions were never wrong. She'd predicted the corrupted guard's attack, had known when Morgana would leave the castle, had even known which warriors could be trusted and which were secretly loyal to Morgana. Their 5-year-old daughter was the most powerful seer in living memory. Then we go together, Darius said. He looked at his gathered warriors. Remember, we attack from the hidden passages on my signal. Give Emma time to get Morgana talking. The longer she monologues, the more time we have to position ourselves. And if the plan fails, one warrior asked, then we improvise. Darius's smile was sharp. We're wolves. It's what we do best. They moved into the forest as silent as shadows. Emma kept Maya close, her newly awakened senses on high alert. She could feel the dark magic trying to cling to them, to corrupt them, but her silver light pushed it back instinctively. The temple appeared through the dead trees like a nightmare-made stone. It was ancient, predating the wolf nations by millennia. Black columns held up a domed roof, and strange symbols were carved into every surface. Protection spells and binding circles, and things Emma didn't want to understand. At the center, beneath the open dome where moonlight would pour in during the eclipse, stood Morgana. She'd changed. Her beautiful features were sharper now, more predatory. Her eyes glowed red instead of their natural gold, and dark veins tracked across her skin like cracks in porcelain. This was what stolen life force did. It gave power, but at the cost of humanity. You came? Morgana said. She sounded pleased. I wasn't certain you would. Most mothers aren't brave enough to walk into obvious traps. Most mothers aren't Silver Lunas. Emma stepped forward, positioning herself between Maya and Morgana. Through their bond, she felt Darius's warriors spreading out around the temple, finding the hidden passages Selene had described. "Let my daughter go. I'm here. You have what you wanted." "Do I?" Morgana's laugh was harsh. "You think I just wanted you?" "No, Emma. I wanted everything. The throne, the power, the fear and respect that comes with being the strongest wolf alive." "You could never be that," Emma said calmly, "because real power doesn't come from stealing it. It comes from earning it, from protecting what's yours, from loving so fiercely that you'd burn the world down to keep your family safe." "Love." Morgana spat the word like a curse. "Love is weakness. It makes you vulnerable, controllable." She gestured, and corrupted wolves emerged from the shadows, at least 20 of them, their eyes flat and dead. "I've spent decades removing such weakness from myself. And look what it's made you." Emma let her silver light flare brighter, a monster who has to steal from others because she has nothing of her own. Morgana's composure cracked. "I have everything. I orchestrated the perfect plan. I drove you away, poisoned Darius, positioned myself to take the throne. I only needed the blood moon to complete it, and now you moved up your timeline because you're afraid." Emma's voice was hard. "Afraid of what I might do if I had time to master my powers. Afraid that even with all your stolen strength, you can't match a true Silver Luna." "We'll see about that." Morgana raised her hands and dark magic exploded outward. The corrupted wolves attacked as one, moving with inhuman speed and coordination. But Darius's warriors were ready. They burst from the hidden passages, silver weapons flashing, their howls echoing through the temple. The battle was joined in seconds. Tooth and claw, steel and magic, light against dark. Emma pulled Maya behind a pillar as Darius shifted into his massive wolf form. His silver-grey fur gleamed in the moonlight as he tore into Morgana's forces, his alpha power fully restored and devastating. "Stay here," Emma told Maya firmly, "no matter what happens." "I know, Mama." Maya's eyes glowed silver. "I'll know when you need me." Emma shifted for the first time in her life. The transformation was nothing like she'd imagined. There was no pain, no struggle, just a surge of power, and then she was standing on 4 legs, her fur pure white shot through with silver light. She was larger than any normal wolf, nearly as large as Darius in his alpha form, and power radiated from her in waves. Her silver wolf was magnificent, ancient, deadly. She launched herself at the nearest corrupted wolf, her jaws closing around its throat. The dark magic within it recoiled from her touch, and she felt it burning away, purifying. When she released the wolf, its eyes cleared. It staggered, confused but free of Morgana's control. Emma understood then. She didn't have to kill them. She could save them. She moved through the battle like vengeance incarnate, her silver light cleansing every corrupted wolf she touched. Behind her, the freed wolves turned on their former master, joining Darius's warriors in the fight. Morgana watched from the center of the temple, her expression twisting with rage. "Clever," she hissed, "but ultimately futile." She spoke words in a language older than memory, and the temple itself responded. The carved symbols blazed to life, and chains of pure silver erupted from the ground. They wrapped around Emma before she could dodge, burning where they touched her fur, forcing her back into human form. Emma screamed as the silver seared her skin. The chains were enchanted, designed specifically to bind a Silver Luna. She struggled, but they only tightened, dragging her toward the center of the temple where a ritual circle had been carved into the stone. "Did you think I wouldn't prepare for you?" Morgana's voice was triumphant. "I've had 6 years to study the ancient text, to learn how to bind a Silver Luna's power. The silver will hold you while I drain every drop of your gift." "Darius!" Emma gasped, but he was surrounded by corrupted wolves, fighting desperately to reach her. Morgana began chanting, her hands weaving patterns in the air. The blood moon was rising, visible through the temple's open dome, and its red light poured down on them. The ritual circle blazed with dark fire. Emma felt her power being pulled from her, drawn into the circle, into Morgana. It was agony, like having her soul torn out piece by piece. "Your power will be mine," Morgana breathed. "Your strength, your gifts, your bond with Darius, everything. And when the eclipse reaches totality, I'll complete the forced bond and become the true queen." Emma's vision blurred. She could feel herself weakening, her silver light dimming. Around her the battle raged, but no one could reach her through the ritual circle's barrier. No adult, anyway. Maya stepped out from behind the pillar. "No," Emma tried to say, but her voice was barely a whisper. "Maya, run!" But Maya wasn't running. She walked straight toward the ritual circle, her small face determined. Morgana was too focused on the spell to notice, or perhaps she simply didn't see a 5-year-old child as a threat. That was her mistake. Maya placed her small hands on the ritual circle's barrier, and her eyes blazed pure silver. When she spoke, her voice carried harmonics that made the temple shake. "You can't have my mama." Power exploded from Maya. Not just lunar power, but something more. The prophesied child, the one who would unite all wolf nations, wielded a gift that transcended normal magic. She was light and dark, alpha and lunar, past and future combined. The ritual circle shattered like glass. The silver chains binding Emma dissolved into light. Emma gasped as her power flooded back, stronger than before. She and Maya's gifts resonated, amplifying each other, creating something unprecedented. "Impossible," Morgana stumbled back. "She's just a child. She's our daughter." Darius's voice came from behind Morgana. He'd fought his way through the corrupted wolves, and now he stood in his human form, his eyes blazing gold, his alpha presence crushing. "And you should have killed us all when you had the chance." Morgana spun, but it was too late. Emma's silver wolf erupted into being once more, and this time Maya was beside her, a smaller silver wolf, her pup form radiant with inherited power. Mother and daughter attacked as one. Their combined power was devastating. Silver light poured from them in waves, purifying everything it touched. The dark magic infusing the temple burned away like mist before the sun. Morgana's stolen life force unraveled, returning to the wolves she'd drained it from. Morgana screamed, her body warping as the dark magic tried to hold her together. She transformed into something monstrous, part wolf, part corruption, all rage and hunger. "I won't lose," she shrieked. "I won't." The battle became chaos. Morgana's corrupted form was powerful, fueled by years of stolen essence. She fought with the desperation of someone who had nothing left to lose, her dark magic lashing out in all directions. Emma and Maya circled her, their silver light containing her, preventing her from fleeing or calling for reinforcements. Darius prowled behind them, waiting for an opening. "You could have had everything," Emma said, her wolf's voice carrying her words. "You were powerful in your own right, beautiful, respected. But it was never enough for you. Nothing is ever enough." Morgana's voice was distorted, inhuman. "Because I wasn't born special. I wasn't gifted with some prophesied bloodline. Everything I have, I took. Everything I am, I built myself. By destroying others." Darius's growl was pure alpha dominance. "By stealing and killing and corrupting. That's not strength, Morgana. That's just cruelty." "Then call me cruel." Morgana lunged at Maya, her claws extended. "But I'll take your daughter with me." 3 things happened at once. Emma threw herself between Morgana and Maya, taking the dark magic meant for her daughter. The corruption burned through her, trying to find purchase, but her silver light was too pure. It burned the darkness away even as it poisoned her. Maya released a blast of pure prophetic power, future and possibility made manifest. It showed Morgana every path her choices had closed off. Every moment of happiness she'd sacrificed for power, every version of herself she could have been if she'd chosen differently. And Darius struck from behind, his claws enhanced with silver, blessed by Selene. They pierced Morgana's heart, and his alpha command rippled through her very essence. I, Darius of the Crystal Moonpack, Alpha King of all wolf nations, strip you of your stolen power and cast you into darkness. You will never rise again. Morgana's scream was cut short. The dark magic imploded, collapsing in on itself, and her corrupted form dissolved into ash and shadow. When the darkness cleared, nothing remained but a pile of dust and the faint echo of what might have been. Silence fell over the temple. Emma shifted back to human form, Maya cradled in her arms. Around them, the freed wolves stood dazed but whole, their eyes clear for the first time in years. Darius's warriors lowered their weapons, breathing hard, covered in blood and ash, but victorious. "Is it over?" Maya asked softly. "Is the bad lady really gone?" "She's gone." Emma hugged her daughter tight. "You were so brave, baby, so incredibly brave." "I just wanted to help." Maya's voice was very small. "I didn't want her to hurt you anymore." Darius joined them, wrapping his arms around both. Through their bond, Emma felt his relief, his pride, his overwhelming love. "You saved us," he said to Maya. "My fierce little warrior, you saved us all." Above them, the blood moon reached its peak. The eclipse began, the moon turning deep crimson as it passed through Earth's shadow. But instead of dark magic rising to corrupt the world, silver light blazed from the temple. Emma felt the mate bond flare between her and Darius, not forced or manipulated, but true and pure and unbreakable. It burned away the last remnants of Morgana's poison, purified 6 years of pain and separation, and sealed them together completely. "Emma," Darius breathed. His hand cupped her face and his eyes held everything, past and present and future, all the years stolen and all the years to come. "My mate, my queen, my everything." "My alpha," Emma whispered back. "My love." They kissed under the blood moon, silver and gold light intertwining, and every wolf present felt the power of a true mate bond completed. This was what they were meant to be, Alpha King and Silver Luna, united in purpose and power and love. When they finally pulled apart, Maya was watching them with a huge smile. "Does this mean we're a real family now?" she asked. "We were always a real family," Emma said gently. "But yes, sweetheart, we're together now, forever." Maya looked at Darius, suddenly shy. Can I call you Daddy now, instead of Papa?" Darius's expression crumbled. Tears tracked down his face as he pulled Maya close, holding her like she was the most precious thing in the world. "Yes," he managed, his voice breaking. "Please, I've waited so long to hear you say that." "Daddy," Maya tested the word, then smiled. "I like it." She hugged him tight, and Darius broke down completely, sobbing into his daughter's hair. 6 years of grief and longing and loss poured out of him, and Emma wrapped her arms around them both, her own tears falling freely. They stood like that for a long time, Alpha King, Silver Luna, and prophesied child, finally whole. 3 days later, the Crystal Moon Castle blazed with celebration. Emma stood before the assembled wolf nations in the grand ceremonial hall, wearing the silver crown of the Lunar Queen. Selene had performed the coronation at dawn, with representatives from every pack in North America present to witness. "I present to you," Selene's voice rang out, "Emma Thorne, Silver Luna, rightful queen of the Crystal Moonpack and Luna to all wolf nations. Let all who see her bow before the prophesied light." Every wolf in the hall dropped to one knee, their heads bowed in respect. Emma felt their wolves recognizing her authority, accepting her as their Luna. It was humbling and terrifying and absolutely right. Darius stood beside her, his own crown gleaming, his hand firm in hers. Together, they looked out over their kingdom, scarred but healing, fractured but coming together. Morgana's conspirators had been rooted out in the days since her death. Some had been genuinely corrupted, their wills subverted by dark magic. Others had chosen to follow her willingly, seduced by promises of power. Justice was being served, tempered with mercy where appropriate. The pack was healing. The kingdom was being restored. And Maya was everywhere at once, it seemed. She'd charmed every dignitary, every warrior, every wolf who crossed her path. She wore a small silver circlet on her dark curls, marking her as the heir, and she took her duties with adorable seriousness. "She's going to be formidable," Selena said, appearing at Emma's side, "the most powerful alpha the wolf world has ever seen." "The prophecy is fulfilled." "She's 5, Emma said, but she smiled. "Let her be a child a little longer." "She'll always be your child, but she's also the future." Selene's ancient eyes were warm. "You've given the wolf nations a great gift, Emma. Hope, a better tomorrow, a leader who will unite rather than divide. We have years before she needs to lead." Darius's arm came around Emma's waist. Years for her to grow up properly, to learn, to just be Maya. "Mama! Daddy!" Maya raced over, her little dress already rumpled from playing. "The puppies are here, real puppies. Can we keep one, please?" Emma laughed. "We'll see, sweetheart." As Maya ran off to play with the other wolf pups in the castle gardens, Emma and Darius stood together, watching their daughter embrace the childhood they'd fought so hard to give her. "I forgive you," Emma said quietly, "for the years lost, for the pain. I know now that it wasn't your fault, wasn't my fault. It was hers, and she's gone. We can't get those years back, but we have all the years ahead." "I forgive you too," Darius said, "for running, for not trusting me. You did what you had to do to protect our daughter." He turned her to face him, his eyes fierce. "But Emma, I need you to promise me something. Anything. Never again. No matter what happens, no matter who threatens us or what conspiracies arise, we face it together. No more secrets, no more running. We stand together or not at all." "Together," Emma agreed. She rose on her toes and kissed him. "Always together, I promise. I'll hold you to that." His arms tightened around her. "You're stuck with me now, Silver Luna. Me and our Chaos Child, and whatever other children we might have." "Other children?" Emma pulled back, eyes wide. Darius grinned. "Well, Maya could use a sibling, or 3. Just think how powerful they'd be with your bloodline and mine." Emma laughed and swatted his chest. "One world-changing, prophesied child at a time, please." But even as she said it, she felt the rightness of it. More children. More love. A family built on truth and trust and unbreakable bonds. That evening, after the celebrations died down, Emma stood in the castle gardens, watching Maya play. Darius appeared behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist, resting his chin on her shoulder. "What are you thinking?" he asked. Emma leaned back against him, watching their daughter laugh as she chased fireflies with the other pups. The moon was rising, not red this time, but silver and pure. "I'm thinking we survived the darkness to find our light," she said softly. Darius kissed her temple, and through their bond she felt his absolute devotion. "We're never letting go again." "Never," Emma promised. Above them the stars wheeled in their ancient patterns. Somewhere the prophecy settled into place, fulfilled but not finished. Maya would grow to unite the wolf nations, to bring peace where there had been war, to build a future brighter than any before. But that was for tomorrow. Tonight there was just a family, finally whole, finally home, finally free. And that was everything. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Like, subscribe, and share this video for more.